The NASCAR Hall of Fame announces their 2026 inductee class, plus Joey Logano, he walks back his comments that he made about Christopher Bell at the end of the All-Star race. Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. So on Tuesday, the NASCAR Hall of Fame announced their 2026 inductee class, and I think everybody's going to be pretty happy with this class going forward. We'll start off with the modern era ballot, and hey, handsome Harry, Mr. September, Harry Gant is now a NASCAR Hall of Famer. The Skull Bandit, his 18 NASCAR Cup Series victories, 2 Southern 500 wins, a runner-up points finish in 1984, winning at the age of 52 in the Cup Series in 1992, plus 21 NASCAR Xfinity Series victories were enough to get Harry Gant into the Hall of Fame. And I have no issues with that at all, and I'll get into that in just a moment after we talk about everybody that was inducted here. The other name on the modern era ballot, that of course goes to Kurt Busch. He has a slam dunk resume. Kurt Busch, obviously 34 NASCAR Cup Series victories, 2004 NASCAR Cup Series champion, 2017 Daytona 500 winner, 2010 Coca-Cola 600 winner, won with all 4 manufacturers during his career in the Cup Series, including Dodge, who doesn't even exist anymore. Kurt Busch is a NASCAR Hall of Famer, and I don't think anybody is going to have any qualms with that whatsoever. He had a really good resume. Did he have some hothead moments? Yeah. Does he have some all-time classic NASCAR radioactive moments that are incredibly fun to go back and listen to? Absolutely. Did he take years off of Steve Addington's life? Potentially. But Kurt Busch is an absolute wheelman when it comes down to it. In the later portion of his career, once he shed that outlaw bad boy image that his ex-girlfriend... If you're not familiar with Kurt Busch's ex-girlfriend, just go look it up and read about her, because it is a roller coaster of an experience. It's like fan fiction that you would find on Reddit, except it's somebody's real life. It actually might be some fan fiction in that as well, but in her brain. But what a wild time that was. The latter portion of his career, he went to teams, and he might be it was always good for 1 win a year, but he really helped build. Kurt Busch on the radio is one of the best drivers at giving feedback. He's phenomenal at it, and I kind of wish he was still around so everybody could go and listen to him give feedback. When he got out of his yelling stage, he got a lot better at it. But he had some run-ins with some media members, and they kind of talked about that on the broadcast today for the Hall of Fame induction, and he said he was worried about it for sure, because certainly he did have some moments with some media members, but it sounds like everybody kind of put that aside and just looked at this from a numbers standpoint, which they absolutely should. So on the Pioneer ballot, that one, it went to Ray Hendrick, and I have no issues with that whatsoever. 700 NASCAR Modified or Sportsman Series wins. The guy was an absolute mainstay of the stock car modified circuit on the East Coast. He's got like 20 wins at Martinsville in his career. I think he's the all-time wins leader at Martinsville. Still, Ray Hendrick absolutely deserves to be there. Denny Hamlin still pays homage to him with those throwbacks that he does at Darlington, that 11 paint scheme with the wing wheel on the side, or the wing circle on the side of it rather. Yeah, Ray Hendrick deserves to be a Hall of Famer. And then in the Landmark Award, that went to Humpy Wheeler, the longtime president of Charlotte Motor Speedway. Humpy did a lot for the sport and still continues probably to do a lot for this sport overall. He really showed what you can do with a race day experience, because the pre-race show for the Coca-Cola 600 is out of this world. And when Humpy was there, nothing ever got in the way of putting on a gigantic show before the pre-race. And he made the at-track experience better than majority of other tracks, at least gave you a lot to consume, whether it was watching what was happening in front of you, activations in the concourse, anything and everything around the racetrack. Humpy Wheeler was there for the fans. He was an entertainer at heart, is an entertainer at heart. He was actually there for the announcement today, which was great. Looking a little old now because he is old, but he still is very much Humpy Wheeler when they talk to him as well. So yeah, those are your 4 names that will be going into the Hall of Fame in February. No issues with any of those guys whatsoever. Let's talk about who got left off in this situation. So when you look at Harry Gant's numbers, they, win total-wise, are very similar to Greg Biffle. But Biffle has championships in the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series, also has a runner-up finish in the Cup Series there as well. To me, Greg Biffle's numbers are better than Harry Gant's. I will say this. I think voters maybe went towards Harry's age at 85 years old. I believe 86 when he gets inducted next year. It makes sense for him to to be on that ballot. Time's not working in Harry Gant's favor. And I don't mean to be morbid here, but time is certainly working in the favor of Greg Biffle. So if I was going to vote, yeah, I probably would have gone Harry Gant in this situation. Even though Greg Biffle, in my opinion, has better numbers, has had a better career, I think for the sake of time, you go with a guy like Harry Gant here. There are also other names on that ballot that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, whether that is a guy like Jake Elder, Tim Brewer deserves to be there. I saw Jeff Gluck's ballot and he marked down Kurt Busch and Jeff Burton. And honestly, I'll be completely honest and transparent. I'm not on the Jeff Burton Hall of Fame train at all. I don't think Jeff Burton is a Hall of Famer. I think Jeff Burton had a solid career, but he didn't win a championship at any of the levels. His win totals are Greg Biffle had about 100 less starts than him and has better numbers, or relatively the same numbers as Burton. You can throw in the fact that Burton, has had a broadcasting career as well, but I wouldn't say that his broadcasting career has been this, overwhelming contribution to the sport. Like, he's good, he's fine, but I don't view it as, something that's going to set him above everyone else. So I'm curious to actually hear what Gluck's thoughts are on it, because everybody votes different, and I'm here for it. I love to know why people voted the way they do. I like understanding user intent and everything that goes along with that. Welcome to my brain here. On the other side of things, Ray Hendrick getting in, great. Larry Phillips absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and I hope that he's the name that's read off next year for that Pioneer ballot. Those were my only real qualms with it. If I had qualms, it's just more of like, hey, I probably would have done this, but I understand why they decided to go in the other direction. So yeah, interested to hear what everybody else thinks about the Hall of Fame. Let me know in the comments. Did the guys that you want get in, or would you have picked somebody else? I'm a really bad loser. I'm a sore loser. I can't help it. That's what Joey Logano said after he went back and watched how Christopher Bell passed him in the closing laps of the All-Star race on Sunday night to eventually go on to win $1 million. Logano, talking to NBC Sports, went back and watched how Bell passed him, and he walked back his comments that he had on Sunday night, where he said if he would have got back to the 20 car Bell, he was going to send him around for the way that Bell raced him, which was confusing to everybody with eyes, because when we watched it happen, we were like, that's not egregious at all. Like, Bell easily could have gone in there and cleaned him out like he was an Xfinity Series driver, but he didn't do that. He went in there, raced him really hard, tried multiple times to pass him. Logano blocked him low, drove him all the way inside, blocked him high, drove him up the racetrack, squeezed him getting into the corner, and then Bell finally just kind of pushed him up the racetrack and passed him. Very minimal contact, not that egregious at all. Goes on to win the All-Star race, and Logano gets out afterwards, and he's furious, and I think a lot of his anger wasn't necessarily with Christopher Bell, probably more with the promoter's caution, because he really wasn't happy with Michael Waltrip, and then also with the fact that his team kept him out there and they didn't pit him. But Logano said, quote, talking to NBC Sports, said, quote, when I went back and rewatched it, I was like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. If he did that move, like moving Logano up the racetrack, the first time he got to me, I'd be like, dude, why would you do that? But he made solid attempts to pass me. I ran him all up and down the racetrack. So when I opened the door, at that point, I opened the door to more aggressive racing. I had to do that to try to maintain the lead. And then he goes on to say, I set the tone that we were going to race like assholes. It's okay that he did that to me, but in the moment, you're pissed, right? You're like, hey, he ran me up the racetrack. Then I watched it and I was like, nah, it's probably warranted. So I shouldn't have said that after the race. You're mad. It is what it is. He knocked me up and then moved me up. Would I have done the same? Probably, especially after someone ran me all around the racetrack like I did. I probably would have done the same. So I appreciate the self-awareness from Logano, the self-reflection. He went back, he watched, and he's like, all right, hand up. I said some dumb things there. What Bell did really wasn't that bad, and it wasn't, in all honesty. Like, if you watch the modified race on Sunday or even the Truck Series race, you saw much more egregious driving in those races than what we saw in the Cup race. So, yeah, I think what Bell did was perfectly fine. Logano is a super defensive driver. He drove Bell, like I said, to the inside of the racetrack, up the racetrack, squeezed him getting in the corner, and he's doing what he has to do. And ultimately, Bell had to do what he had to do, and he got it done without doing anything over the top and egregious. So, for once, I think people should actually maybe cut Joey a little slack here, because he did go back and admit some fault in his comments there. I know that's not going to change anybody's opinion, because next week at the Coke 600, Logano can go out and do something again. Everybody's going to be like, F Joey, because that's how the fan base reacts. Joey Logano certainly gets a lot of reaction out of the NASCAR fan base. Not a well-liked character amongst most of the fans there. So let me know in the comments what you thought about the Hall of Fame, Logano walking back his comments. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok @BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook @BreakHardBlog.